wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about who we are. What is this place? I was giving someone a tour tonight and they said, well, you're kind of like a Waldorf and you're kind of like a Montessori. And to be honest, it took us a long time to define who we are. We used to have parent meetings, and I remember it was one of my first ones, and we had a big whiteboard up, and the question was, who are we? And it was before we figured out what progressive education is, and parents were just shouting things out, hippie school, school with no shoes, just all these different things. And so now we really can define ourselves as progressive education. And what makes us different from places like Waldorf, there are a lot of similarities between us and Waldorf and Montessori. Waldorf is very structured in how technology comes into the school. The kids really don't use computers until high school. We don't use a lot of technology here, but we will use Chromebooks and things to do research. Waldorf is also very structured on when children learn to read, and we leave that more open. Some of our kids come into kindergarten reading. Some of our kids leave in third grade and still don't have, that solid skill. So it's just more looking at where that specific child is at rather than saying everybody needs to read at 7 years old. And the difference between Montessori, I would say, is our play is very unstructured here. We really invite conflict. I love to see parents walk on campus, and the first thing some people notice is how many ways their child can get hurt. And it's true. But that's, the zip line, we have one, and that can cause some conflict, but we don't shy away from that. That's how children learn. We're also asking them on this playground to take a lot of risks with the ropes and the swings. Shovels, hoses, all that stuff requires such negotiation, and we want that. That's where you learn it. Mary Jo always says they do most of their learning out here on the playground. We can try to teach them things, we can read them books and do different experiments with them, but it's really out here is what they remember. And so we really value that play. That's why the students have a half an hour of snack and an hour of lunch, because that's where they're doing the majority of their learning. So what is progressive education? It's been around for over 100 years. It started with a gentleman named John Dewey, and he was really looking at how he toured around the world and was looking at different education models, and he was really disappointed about how firm and structured and cold the classrooms were. So he really came up with 3 things that are the components of progressive education. The first one is Emergent Education, and that's where you learn about what the children are interested in. And it makes things so much easier because you want to investigate, wonder, explore, discover things you're already interested in. So, if the kindergartners are interested in dinosaurs, then we go deep into that. And it's also, what is that second term? Sorry. It is integrated curriculum. So it's emergent because they're interested in it, and then we integrate all subjects. It's not, okay, from 9 to 9:45, we're going to study dinosaurs, and then we're going to end that, and we're going to study math, and then after lunch, we're going to do reading. That's not how life is. At work, you're not handed a sheet of long division or multiplication, and you do that one sheet, and then you're done for the day. Everything is integrated. So the idea with progressive education is to make it more like real life is our goal. And children have a strong desire to emulate adults. And so we want to find things that motivate them, that interest them, real skills. We don't give them fake tools. We give them hammers and nails and shovels.
Hot glue guns.
Hot glue guns. And then the third component is experiential. And that's really just taking everything in. You have to learn by doing. So you walk into our classrooms and they're loud and they're messy and everybody's working on different things. We really stay away from a lot of the direct instruction where I'm standing up here teaching. It's more inquiry-based, where they're asking the questions, and then we're more of a guide. We're there to facilitate, okay, let me get you these books, let me get you what you need, but I am not the holder of all the knowledge. We are on the same level, and you'll notice they call us by our first names. There's no grades, there's no testing, there's no rewards. Everything is more of a conversation. It's that real life that's so important to progressive education. You want to add anything to that?
One thing is that school can be such a place of anxiety. You're either trying to be acknowledged. Oh, look at me, I'm an A person. Tell me that I'm good. Tell me that I'm good. And that's not what we're focusing at all. All we will do in the first few weeks of school is we're just going to get to know each child that's here. And they're all of us right now in this moment, we're all very different. We all spell in different ways. Our confidence in math, our confidence in science, technology. Don't even say the word around me. Thank goodness for the children here. I mean, they have helped us. I don't know what I'm going to do without code to do our TV and our computers. That's not my thing. So why do we look at children and say you all have to be at a certain point, and if you're not at that point, you're less of a person? And I bet everybody here has had those experiences. Those experiences of being humiliated, of being put down, and the experience of feeling that you've excelled at something. But what about everybody else? So we want it to just be it's your own personal accomplishment. Just as when they climb up in that tree for their first time. I thought of it so much with camp. Camp was a great experience. I said to Jay, I'm not working summer camp. I'm not doing it. The next thing I know, I'm working every week of summer camp. I don't know how it happened, but it was a gift. It was such a gift to be able to come back and realize how and Kristen, we all had the same experience, and Anna, who came back, how much our life is working with children. We'll work with you also as adults, but our joy comes in being around the children. And I think it was Eliza and some other girls, they wanted to do the zip line, but they weren't quite certain of the zip line. And you could see them each day, like they'd get up close and go, maybe I'll try it. No, not yet. But that joy when they decided it was their time, and the only person that was going to decide it was their time was them. It wasn't me saying, yeah, you can do it. No, they had to decide that. And they knew that because they did it when they had the strength within them. They felt confident, they did it, and the joy. It's the same thing with everything else. Whether it be writing a book, or doing a math problem, cooking something, seeing the plants that they've grown and getting to harvest them and then sell them. Farmers market is the biggest money maker at this school. And the children know that. They have their own plots, they form logos, they have companies, they get bucks from what they've sold. So it is a business that we're teaching them, and they own it. So for when the children leave here, what they remember isn't all the different experiments we've done with them and all the dress-up drama of history. All history is done through dress-up here. But they remember those relationships. They knew they had strong relationships. They remember the adults that were their friends, because you will become the friends with the children here. And they'll know. Tell you, children are very, very smart, and they know if they're being judged by an adult. So they're going to call you on your stuff, and we have class meetings. So when we have conflicts. Every day there's conflicts. Go through a box of Band-Aids a week, but the conflicts are a part of our life, and it's more about how do we respond to them instead of reacting. How do we respond? And that is a constant. I look at the adults that have such a hard time speaking up and saying what we need and what we want and how do we do it before we get really angry. And that's what we're doing here. So yes, we're going to do all your academic areas, but what we are mostly working on is that these are young people, and what we most want for them is to feel good about themselves when they leave here, because it's a big world out here we're going to be in. And that's what we really see as Roseville Community School. That's kind of it in a nutshell. We are going to have time to break into our class meetings tonight, so you'll hear more about what will go on in your class. Orientation's just an introduction. During the year, the way we give you a lot of feedback is that we do it on Google, so you do have to get your technology up to date, and Jay will be here to help you with it. But the teachers will send you to the group that they're working with a photo of what children are doing, and then we'll explain what we're working on in the class. And always come to us if you feel like you're a little disconnected with what's going on. Just come and talk with us about it. If there's any concerns you have, we always ask you to go to your teacher first. It's kind of like with the children. We always ask them
Be direct.
Yes, be direct. Go to the person you need to speak with. So we're going to ask you as adults to do the same thing during the school year.
A lot of you have work samples that need to be turned in, so we will have files in each classroom, so you can come grab those out of your child's file, or if you need help, you can always ask the teacher, and we can look at it together and see what best represents what you need. Binders, okay.
Many of the things we do will be on the wall, so in the past the parents would come through and take photos of anything that their children are working on. So, and the homeschool teachers quite often have even come to the school to have meetings with the parents, and that's fine, and we can talk with them also. So it's very open. Should I go into nitty-gritty
Yes.
now?
Yes.
So there's the nitty-gritty.